tell. And she get mad at me all the time. And so she bring this little guy, he come up there and I look at him, she said, what do you think? What do you think? I said, time will tell. Yeah. And time told. That went in, right? And so as time went on, you know, I met Jerome. Now I didn't say time would tell with Jerome. I met him and I said, I like him. And so what was interesting is he called me to talk to me about marrying Trae.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
In fact, you're the only person I told.
Wow.
I didn't even tell nobody in my family.
Wow.
So I called Bishop and asked him because I know how much he meant to Trae. So I was like, I need to have a
He
conversation
did.
with
He
him.
called. And,
I told him the date and everything. She didn't know I was gonna propose to her.
Yeah. And yeah, so we had that connection, and it was just a wonderful connection. And but she had a desire, you know, to be shepherded. You know, everything I told her she didn't like, but I had to tell her the truth. But you know, what God put together, let no man put asunder. And they've had wonderful journey in life before they came together. And if they, you know, they want to share that later on, they can. But you guys are gonna have a great time. All right. All right. God bless.
Thank you so much. Well, so he pretty much gave you guys our story, but you know, I just want to say that embrace being single, right? Like sometimes we look at it and we say, or we allow people, right, to paint a narrative of why we're single, right? So today what we want to focus on, and Trae and I want to focus on, and let me just say this first of all, we want y'all to be as open as possible. Like, we're not in church, right? Because sometimes when you come to events like this and you feel like, oh, they're gonna be talking about scriptures and they're gonna be, no. Because the reality is our life on a day-to-day basis happens, right? We know what God tells us to do, but the reality, when you home alone, when you talking or you're on the phone or you meeting someone or whatever the case may be, you have to be your authentic self, right? And we're not perfect. We've been married 3 years. We've been together 5 years, and we go through things that single people go through or go through. We've known each other for 18 years, so that tells you something, right? And we've been together for 5 years, and we've been married for 3 years. And I'm just gonna say, like, she's my best friend, right? But I don't want y'all to think like everything is like fantastic, right? Because we human just like anybody else. So today I want you, don't look at yourself as like there's something wrong with me, right? Maybe God is preparing you for something that's right for you. You just haven't received it yet, right? And we'll talk about that as we go on throughout the day. So we want to kind of open up with having some fun, right? This is something that Bishop said to my wife years ago. He asked her, are you an asset or are you a deficit? Right? So, I mean, like, what do you bring to the table?
What are some myths you think that people think about singles, especially in church? You know, if you single in church, right, everybody got something to say about you being single and what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. So what are some myths that you think that people say about being single in church? Or they think about singles in church?
The number one thing I get or hear is that you're trying to get that woman's leg. Or yeah. To go along with that, I know that whenever, like for instance, myself, I tend to be active in church, not to be a busybody, but I want to contribute to the kingdom, you know. But I've dealt with people thinking that single women tend to be busybodies in the church. That always seems to be the narrative that goes along with, you know, a single woman that does, you know, the church function, right? Where she always smiling in everybody's face, right? You know, and that's not the case at all. You know, you don't want to do the Lord's work, you know, looking mean and mean mugging people. You want to be approachable, you know, because that's what brings people into the body.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
and they'll be saying something else about you.
Right.
So one of the things that I'm always, or I think people have in their minds is they think that church ministry is your entire life.
Right.
It should be.
Right. Because if you single, they want to put everything, every
Yeah.
job, everything.
Right.
You can be in hospitality, you can be in
Everything.
There's so many different things that you can do. You know what I mean? Right.
What about, I'm gonna ask you, being that you're the only male and we're normally short from males in church, what are some of the myths that you think, or like maybe your boys might say, or people just in general? Because I know some, for me, I think some of the things that, oh, men, y'all just going to church to meet women. Right, they're like, you can't love the Lord, you know what I'm saying, and then have a good time as well.
Well, I really hear this. I think I'm what a lot of men are just afraid. They're afraid. They hear and they use the excuse that, church hurt, and I don't mean to say that lightly. But they use that. They people of faith at church. I hear that. That's a couple.
Yeah, that was me. I was that person because growing up, a friend of mine who I played with, his dad was a pastor. So I saw some things that I didn't agree with as a kid. And so growing up as an adult, that, like she said earlier, those things stay with us. So I was like, man, them people are fake.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that stuff ain't real, because my only image was of someone who just did something wrong, not where God wanted us to be. But, once you learn things at a young age and that stuff continue to grow with you, you start to believe stuff even if it's not real. And so for me, I was like, I'm not going to church. Them people are phony and this and that. And then I met Trae, and then, she just started introducing me to stuff, like not intentionally, but like she was playing a song. I'm like, why are you playing that? Like, all right. Or she'll, say a scripture, something like that. I'm like, why are you saying that? But then I started to see a different side. And I think for us as men, I was the one who wrote that question out there too, that she just answered, because I think for us as men, I work with young kids, right? I work with at-risk youth. And so seeing a lot of trauma that they go through, right? But I realized that a lot of us men, we going through the same thing, but we hold it in because we weren't taught to cry or associate with other men because that's a sign of weakness.
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, go ahead.
But that's the other thing too, is with men, especially that have gone through my own trauma.
Right.
But one of those things is when you come to church, there is a move of God that happens.
For sure.
And it is an emotional feeling that you feel also. It's a spiritual move, but there's a feeling that you feel in your body. A lot of men are like, no.
Right.
They feeling the presence. No. They don't know what that is. They don't know why that they're supposed to. Am I supposed to feel this? Is it okay for me to feel and even acknowledge that this is what we're doing? Is it okay for me to worship? Like, what is government?
Right.
And it gets into all of that. And I've been in church pretty much my whole life, but I also experienced that.
Right.
And if I can say something,
Go ahead.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because there's such great of an emphasis placed on women healing that, sometimes I think that we tend to forget that men also are in need of healing and are very much in need of going on a journey to find themselves. You know what I mean? Overall heal. And so it's a beautiful thing that you said that. Not a lot of brothers come to the realization that there are things that they need to work on in their lives, whether it's trauma or just whatever the case is. But there is a lot of work that brothers need to do as well.
You know what? We don't think that we need healing because we've never seen no one heal. Right? We haven't, right? Depending on how you were raised. I know for me, losing a dad at an early age, being raised by my grandmother. So my interactions with emotions and feelings, and I told Trae, like, I didn't get I love you. Like I didn't get hugs and stuff like that. So you go through life and it may sound cliche, but you really don't know how to sometimes love someone. You know what I'm saying? Or you don't know how to receive. Then you start to push away the people that's trying to give it, but then you complain about what you don't have. Even though you pray to God for it, but now when he gives it to you, you can't even receive it because you just don't know.
And so when you're single, especially as women, I've been in singles ministry, it's always women. And you might have one.
One brother
You don't have a chance but making cakes and pies. That first person to scoop you up so you can be in there with the married. When we're single, we all kiss a whole lot of frogs. You know what I mean? And so, to y'all point, for single ladies specifically, when you meet a man and you go through trauma and they break your heart and stuff like that, you try to categorize all men like that. So you become afraid to put up a wall. But the reality is they've gone through a lot of stuff too. So if you're not single whole when you meet them, you're a broken vessel, they're a broken vessel, and you come together and try to have a relationship, and the relationship don't work because you're not single and whole when you meet that individual. Or maybe you are. Maybe you got yourself all the way together. Your house, your car, your dogs, your finances. But the one that God has ordained for you is not prepared yet. He's still working on that person, but we get so anxious to want to be in a relationship. We want Valentine's Day balloons and cards. You know, we want all those things that we rush into relationships with the wrong person. You know what I mean? So I think that hopefully through today, we will recognize the importance of being single ourselves as whole and not as missing something. Not saying that we're not lonely at times or we don't want a significant other, but we want to make sure we're in a place to receive the gift that God has for us. Make sure we're together. So when God brings your Ruth or your Boaz, that you're prepared to receive that person.
And I think for us, we'll share with you guys, we've both been married before, and I think that's a benefit for us in our relationship. So you could look at failure two ways, or things that didn't work. You could dwell on it and stay there, or you could say, you know what, I need to get better, because usually we blame the other person, right? They did this to me, they did that, and we kind of take ourselves out of it. But when you take yourself out of it, what you do is bring your baggage to that person, not knowingly, and now you're damaging that same person the way you was damaging maybe the person that you was with. So for us, we embrace being divorced. We've learned some things, and now we know now that there's things that we still work on every single day. So like I said, we're not perfect. You know, sometimes we go to places and people act like everything is like the greatest in the world and they don't have no problems. You're lying. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then the reality is that you can't help nobody. Because I know when somebody do that to me, I'm like, oh, I'm not listening to them. Because if you can't tell me what you've been through, then how are you going to help me when I go through those situations? And we all go through it.
Even in church, she was talking about wearing the mask. There's no married folks in there. We all wear masks at times. You know what I mean? We come to church and bless the Lord, thank you, Jesus, and was fussing all the way to church and gonna fuss all the way back. So you can't look at somebody else's relationship and, you know, want to cover that. Oh, I just wish I had that relationship, because I guarantee you, everybody is going through something. Has anybody here ever been married? You've been married before?
Yes.
Do you guys want to get married again?
Oh, yeah.
Does everybody here want to be married?
Yes.
She's
I'm one of those, I've been single for so long. I don't want to say unachievable expectations, but I can see BS coming my way. And so I'm like, you know, and so I feel like people always like, you need to give people a chance. I don't know, that ain't my chance. No. So I don't. Marriage is a lot of work. I know that for a fact. I just don't know.
You know what?
Energy and strength.
You know what's interesting about that? Because
Yeah.
my wife's right here,
It
she
is.
said the same thing. I'm not getting married again. And then we reconnected and we talked and, you know, we enjoyed each other, whatever. And like I said earlier, sometimes it's the person that God has for you, right? So the way you're thinking right now is excellent because you don't want to settle, right?
Yeah.
But having that open mind because she wasn't ready for me.
I wasn't getting married.
Yeah, she tells she swear me down, she wasn't getting
Oh,
married
no,
again.
20 years single, I was living my best
Yes,
life, I was doing all the
come on.
things that I wanted to do. I didn't have any issues, no, we all had issues, but
Yeah.
I didn't have any, because I
Be
could,
good.
because I could get over you.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if I meet somebody, they cut up, you gotta go, you know,
Yeah.
so it wasn't my thing
Yeah.
to be married again, you know, it just wasn't my thing. But so my question is, in this dating environment, is it worth the investment, do you think, in today's environment?
Today, when you say investment, what do
Yeah.
you mean?
Okay, so is it worth opening up, pulling your wall down, dating, going out with your girlfriends to meet somebody, to get set up on a blind date, swiping left, swiping right?
So
You know.
for me, my philosophy is dating is preparation for fornication and God is not leading. So I just assume we don't do nothing. We don't go nowhere unless we have already made the correct. I can tell by the first 5 or 10 questions whether or not it's gonna work.
Wait,
Tell me what's that.
you know, when you date, don't date.
I don't date.
So you're not gonna date nobody until.
Dating is preparation for fornication if God is not leading you. So if God is not leading you to go on this date with this guy, my end goal is marriage. If his end goal ain't marriage, then why are we going out? That just kind of defeats the purpose.
So you're not closed off to dating,
I'm
you
not
just have to
closed
be
off.
led.
Yeah, I have to be
Okay.
led to go out with that person. I'm just not gonna go rolling out with you and end up somewhere.
Well,
in
how you gonna
trouble.
know?
I mean, no, we can have conversations. I have conversations and stuff, but I'm just, I'm just.
I think basically what she's saying, at the point she's at right now, she's just not about playing games. So
Right,
basically,
right,
this is where I want to go. Now, I'm not saying we got to get there tomorrow,
right.
but we got to be on that path to get
Right.
there. If not, then leave me alone.
Right.
So she's set, and that's like a no deal breaker for her.
I think that the challenge in that ideology
Okay.
is, when you initially meet people, you meet their representative.
That's true.
So if you tell me, I like flowers and Luther playing, you know, when he come to your door, he gonna have flowers, he gonna be
And
romantic.
that's why a lot of that
you know.
information I don't give out.
Right,
I don't give that front.
right.
We talk and we may have conversations like, what do you do for a living? Stuff like that, and I keep it very flat. And, but you're right, because they will, and the reason, okay, let me give you, the reason I'm like this is because I have my entire family are narcissistic. You either a narcissist or you're a victim. And I have fell on the victim spectrum so much until now it's like, and it took forever to learn the game. So now I'm like, okay, now I'm very particular. I ask questions or whatever. So I just don't go rolling out with you. Because you're a narcissist or you're a victim of narcissism. You fall on one end of the spectrum or the other. So that's why I respond like that now, because I had to find a way to protect myself against those type of people, the covert narcissists. And they are, and then when I look back at, that's what I was always getting was the narcissist. And so now I have, I had to, break that.
So you're going into a situation, with walls and boundaries. And so if that's the case, you may be eliminating or blocking what God has for you. So I'm not saying don't protect yourself, but I'm saying you have to let that wall down a little bit because God gives us all discernment.
Right.
You know what I mean? He gives you the red flags.
Yeah.
So
He ain't no good.
Right.
She ain't no
But see, in
good.
the past, I wasn't listening to the red flags because I didn't know. So, you know, now I gotta know a little bit better, so.
Right, we
Yeah.
want what we want.
Right.
So, you know, he may be fine and everything, right, you know, he's sweet talking there, but just something about you saying, too slick. And that's probably where you are, like, you know, I don't, you know, something's not right, but it may be our own baggage.
Right.
You know what I mean? So now we looking at everybody with a deceitful eye.
Right.
Like, you did something my last one did, so, you must be just like that person. But the reality is, you guys, triggers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Triggers. There's no perfect me. So that list that you got with all that stuff, I want him to look like this.
I started marking off.
Right?
I've been doing this a long time, and I'm like, you know, after you get saved and you started dwelling in the word of God and asking for what you want and believing he's gonna do this, you're gonna start taking this off.
Right.
Okay, I mean, you got, everybody's not gonna come perfect. There's no perfect person. And if you've ever been in a relationship before, whether it's been married or in a long-term relationship, you know you're not perfect yourself.
Right.
Right.
So you got to start taking off some of your
Layers.
take it off,
Layers
you
off.
know, okay, I'm gonna go my natural hair, you gonna like it or not. You know, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. Come on, find a man that like natural this, and like natural that. I'm not gonna push you away. You know, I'm gonna find out. I'm willing to go there, cause it's that time. It's that time.
And
I'm not thirsty. Okay.
Right.
Say that again.
Say that again, say that again, sister.
I'm not thirsty.
Right, right,
Okay.
that's right.
Cause he's not, if I'm dwelling in God, he's not allowing me to be thirsty.
Right.
He gonna quench this stuff, so I wait on it.
Right.
And I got the discernment to see it coming. So I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna wait, but yet I'm gonna break down some of those walls from the back.
Right.
I got to allow myself to open up some. You will be right.
And you know why that's so
For you and not for those.
For the other
Right,
person.
Right. You know why that's so important? I remember my wife telling me, she said, man, you don't trust me, you don't trust me. And I had to look at it like I dealt with trust issues with people. It wasn't her, it was just dealing with people throughout my life, not just from a woman's perspective, but people, period. So I had those walls up like you had in trust, and I wasn't even identifying it or seeing it until she brought it to my attention. So sometimes we have these things going on within us, but if someone that we respect and appreciate don't tell us, then guess what? We bring that along the way. And sometimes we don't meet that person that you say, you know, God, this is what I'm looking for. And after you might see that person every day, you walk right by because you might deal with trust issues or being alone or being abandoned, you know, those things. So,
It's a lot of issues, childhood issues.
right. All of that stuff plays a huge
All that
part.
stuff plays a part in every
Absolutely.
single thing you do. You know, it's a constant thought process.
And sometimes when we get into relationships, when we first meet someone, we treat them like they're the person that hurt you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and because we do that, they're like, oh, man, y'all can't talk to that person. They don't communicate well or something, you know, something of that nature. So when you initially meeting people in our mind, you may want to be married. That's my end goal. But the second time, it's just a date. It's just a dang date. That's it, you know, but 2 days in, they so sweet, you already writing your name, Trae, how many A's? We are already, you know, picking out the dress.
I know what you mean. When you say dating to marry, I don't wait to marry. I didn't have the time, eat, watch movies, have fun. When I meet people, I don't say, could this be my husband? I can't, it's too far from me. I just wanna get through what I like to do, like I say, music. Do we both like the Lakers? Do we both like, I'm thinking about commonality.
Right.
And so if a man would come to me and say, I'm dating for marriage, I would
run. Well, I mean,
Because
I
it's
don't want
too
to a
much
man to
pressure.
say that. I
You
mean,
know, I know you don't,
Well,
but
we-
sometimes when you
yeah.
talk to someone after the me and my third date, we might, that conversation might come up. And if someone says that frightens me, because I will be honest, I don't know what kind of wife I could be. I ain't getting up making bread. I'm not that person. I'm not that girl, like, we have to go to, I'm not like, it's too much pressure to try to live up to that. If we get there, we get there, but I can't, now, you can't come into that to me. I'm down.
Understand that you guys are at two different spectrums in your life.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Right.
We're around the old, maybe a older, and then you are more in the younger, Netflix and chill kind of thing. Well, not chilling, just Netflix. But you're different.
Yeah.
In your thinking. You're gonna hang out, and if it work out, and then you're like more stable and like, when I've been through the games, and then you're in a situation where I already been married, so I'm enjoying being single, but if God brings me that person,
Right.
God brings me that person. So our question is dating in today's environment worth the investment for you? Is it worth meeting somebody? Is it worth going online and swiping left? Is it worth a blind date?
At this point in time, no, I was married for 15 years and I've now been divorced for 3 years. And so the world is so much more different than what it was, when I first got married in 2003. It's, I mean, with everything that has taken place in the world, with the recession and pandemics and, just, with people experiencing different types of failures in life and just different significant life events. I would say with where we are in today's world, the culture is just something that I have not been able to, grasp hold of because it's so contrary to, my, biblically based beliefs and my principles, even though I am divorced, I know that I'm okay. I've always known that. I was raised that way. I was raised in that type of environment. And so now, when this conversation about dating comes up, I'm afraid, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I'm very afraid
That's
because,
understandable.
I've been deceived. I've only dated twice, since my divorce. I've been divorced for 3 years now. And I'm just, fearful about what I might get, what I might end up with it because I'm serious. I think the mindset of just being upfront with who I am, what I'm about, and what you will not do. And, don't cross this line. I'm very particular about letting people know upfront, what the bottom line is so that they know exactly, how to, conduct themselves and how to, treat me as a lady, and as a professional, and as someone that is actually established. But I'm fearful at this point because, what's like this? 2003.
Yeah, everything
The
changed.
music and just the way people talk to each other. I mean, do they have substance? What are your principles and your morals? It's like all of that has gone out of the window. And it's like.
That's why you gotta erase your list because
Yeah.
you'll have all these materialistic, tangible things that matter.
It's like,
That-
okay, I got my own house. You gotta have your own house. You gotta
Right.
take care. You gotta be able to take care of your house, my house, and our house. Us together. It's a whole bunch of stuff.
And
I got my own car. Okay, my stuff paid off. Your stuff gotta be paid off. He can't be on this money. And then, and I'm not approachable. And so I need to stop that mess. And you know what I mean?
And that's another thing.
Because what matters.
My kids, like,
I think it's okay to have a list, but what matters too is the intangibles.
Yes.
The one I want to be with have integrity.
Right.
Amen.
Character.
Character, what?
Do they go to church? Do they have a relationship
Yes.
with
No.
God? Because we've already seen because of COVID, you don't have to come to church to have a relationship
No.
with God. So stop painting your potential mate in a box.
And
That
do
was
they have
what he
potential?
said.
And do they have potential? Right?
Right.
Potential is everything because I may not be there right now, but I'm on a path. So you don't want
Right.
to talk to me because I'm not there.
Right.
The race is still
That
going
had to
on.
take- yeah, take
No one
instruction.
wants a race. So you might get somebody who might leave you behind or drop the baton. I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah.
So we have to look at those factors.
Can we
as well.
build? Can you build?
Right, right.
You say that, and the funny thing for me, most of my friends are married, and they always think in their mind who they think I will be with based on, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, Malcolm, you work here, he do this and none of that. I'm not the type of person I can tell, that's where you work. I don't care what you are. I don't care what that's a turn off to me.
Right.
If you come up here with certain things, which is I look the other way. I'm not into that.
Right.
But you spent $100 on that bill? I mean, we could have went somewhere.
That's
That's me all day.
You know, what's cool to people, and they think, oh, you dress it, I'm like, that means nothing to me.
Right.
I wanna know how he handles the bad situation.
Right.
If he lost his job, wherever that is, because I don't tell nobody where I work, or they tell them, I say where I work, or you make money, whatever. So I don't want to have expectations based on where you work, who your mama is, where you live, because that's all dictation to me. Because some people, they have all these things, yeah, people have all, I've seen people have all the things, accolades, and pandemic,
Right.
lost
Right.
their mind,
Yeah.
and you like, who is that person?
You know,
So
what
I don't care about that, because you don't know who you are, and you don't know how to make it in the world without things like that. Why we gonna make, because we all gonna come against you.
Right.
So all the other stuff,
That's right.
don't appeal to me.
And that's what
That's why it's hard to
Yeah,
date,
it's very
because
hard.
people wanna send you this, wanna be Idris looking guy, which is great.
Yeah.
But past that, I'm
I
like,
love Idris, huh?
yeah, we do.
ain't mad at you.
After Idris, I'm like, he's kind of nice girl, though.
Right.
He don't care about women, you
Right.
know, so I just.
I mean, it's
just
okay to have your
hard.
stand. It's okay to have your stance. I mean, you
Yeah.
want what you, they say you have not because you ask not.
Yeah.
So you know what you want. So you
Yeah.
have an outline.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, don't paint yourself only into that
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
Open up, because,
walls.
right, because it might be fine today, but 15 down the road, 15, when I met him, I was, 36, 24, 36. Now I'm 56. Overall. Looks was all
Yeah.
I was after, okay, initially, that's great. Your car, we flossing, we looking good, okay, that's great. But what's gonna happen, like you said, when challenges come, you have some input, but we
I was
have
just, yeah,
took over.
I was just on roll, but no, I was gonna say, I do think that it is worth the investment with some parameters in place. So, even with everything that was said, yeah, but I do still think it's worth it. Yeah.
I think so.
It's scary.
It's scary.
It is scary, and the older you get, the scarier it gets.
I got married at 53, so I was literally single for 20 years. And so whether I dated someone a little bit younger than me, quite my age, or 6, 7 years old, the games was universal. We found it we find it at every
Just
level.
the players.
But I think,
God didn't want you there, baby, that's
but,
all.
but
That's all.
I think we have, well, let me go.
Oh, no. So one of the things for the ladies that should actually, what is it that you think men actually want from women? Because I hear a lot of different things, and I want to, clear some of that up, or maybe, agree with you.
I mean, that's a loaded question, because it depends on the man, right? Because some men want.
Let's go with the majority.
Okay,
what's the question again? What do men want? from a
What do
woman?
you, because
From your perspective,
Yeah.
what is it that what do you think men are looking for?
I mean, these two men can take it with y'all off.
I would say a man would want someone that is, holds his person to the high class and dignity, and someone that can. Knowing how
being able to take criticism and not take it to heart.
Okay, so are you saying what are men looking for in terms of a woman that they would want?
If the fellas was together, Junior, what's your name, brother? Corey and Jerome are together right now. They talking about, man, single out here. I just want a woman that
That is beautiful, or, and that goes, you know,
No,
different,
that's
that's beautiful. That is not one that's in the street, giving everything and went away, respectable, I should say. And a woman who knows how to put it down in the kitchen, because that's not so right.
I think they want somebody easy on the eyes. I think they want somebody.
Easy on the eye. He don't want no leg. Okay, he want Rachel. Go ahead.
Easy on the eyes. Like pretty on the look and be attractive.
Okay.
Okay. And they want a friend, somebody they go and talk to.
Right.
Somebody they can talk about anything and everything.
And so, okay, now I'm the man jumping. So where are we messing up as women today, as single women? And then I'm gonna let them jump in for what they want and then where we're messing up. What do you think we're doing wrong?
Just spitting out what we ain't gonna take, what we ain't gonna have, we don't want to be like this. I want this, I want that. And just showing that representative that they don't want that loud talking sister that they can't take nowhere.
Right.
They're gonna be embarrassed.
Come on
Yeah,
now.
you wanna show yourself, you know, they just want a nice, classy.
So we're
I
messing
think
up.
so we're
because
messing up to
sometimes
just
we
be
talk
so.
aggressive.
Yeah.
Aggressive. So,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
You know,
I think also what you say will be, I think when you put me in the box by thinking it's fake home. And so you kind of, oh, I think you like this, I think you like that, but really, that means me, I think I like certain things, it's always the opposite. So I'm like, I think we put them in the box as well.
Okay. So we put them in a box. We think, we're loud, boisterous, aggressive,
And
okay.
especially being women of God.
Too churchy.
Too churchy.
Reading scripture.
So
Okay.
to it and you spitting it out like that because we do live an everyday life. Everybody, you know, we want to speak the word now, somebody, one that, fear of God, fearful God have a relationship.
Right.
But yet you can't just talk to me plain.
Right.
Sometimes.
And what do you, and you like, real quick, what do y'all think we mess up when we fellas?
Yeah.
What they wanted when we.
I think a lot of times they term, we flip the sweat, when we put our pants over around the bed, kind of like what you were saying, that's not good.
Yeah, like if you're proposing.
Yeah.
Or We think they want, another, we think they want another race because they're more docile, or, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, fellas. Okay.
I'm gonna let the brother go ahead and I'll go.
I think when deep down. I think I know it's here all the time, but I understand what it means.
Good. That's real. And how do you think women want to be loved?
I think they want to. Like, pay attention.
Don't get that.
I've been in relationships, so I've had the moments where I came in, I had to deal with myself. But the thing about it is when you let go of like some of these parameters and you're in a relationship, it will force you to see yourself just how
Right.
and that you be willing to change that.
Yeah. Grow and develop.
Right. And so, like, I ain't speaking from like this deep thing, but I
Right,
just speak from experience. I just experience. And because I come from a certain way, and I just have to understand. Love someone to her, you know. But that's
That's good.
That's
I'm gonna go with the young cameraman over here.
Yeah,
Young
right.
junior.
Yeah.
About to be married.
What's our question?
What do you think women want from a man? And where do women fall?
I think respect and I guess just, respect, like the trust and willingness to, trust her judgment, as the man, because that's hard to.
And then last question, where do you think in your dating, I know you like to get
Mhm.
married, but prior to that, when you ran into relationships, where do you think women didn't always meet what you were looking for, or think that we could do better?
I don't know. Like for me, I think it was a lot of my personal, because that's how I was raised. My dad handled everything. My mom didn't do anything but raise us. I mean, like feed us. She cooked and did that stuff. But my dad handled. I mean, like every decision. I don't remember like calling my mom for anything. You know what I mean? Like I know a lot of people grow up like, oh, I call my mom. I'll call my. I was always calling my dad. You know what I mean? Like my dad was just as busy as he was. Like he was there. So I feel like I got to do that. And for her, it feels like I don't trust her. You know what I mean? Like, so when I think I'm doing like, I'm like, okay, I'm handling everything. She ain't gotta do nothing, but she don't like that. And it feels like I'm controlling her. So I guess for me, the longest time for us, she never said anything. So I didn't know it was a problem. I didn't even know she thought I was controlling, because like in my world, that's what a man does. You know what I mean? Like outside, I mean, like you may not be as affectionate or emotional, but I mean, like the bills are paid. Like you don't want for anything. So in my mind, I'm a great man. You know?
Right, get her mask on. Shelter. Yeah.
So I think that.
So
That's
for
what I'm
me,
saying.
I think personally women want to feel secure.
Yeah.
No, they want to be safe. They want a friend, and they want to like you, not just love you.
Yeah.
Right? Because I can love you, right? But I cannot like you. Right? So I think when you like the person that you love, right? Because I see people Well, now that I know, they probably said, I love you when they got married, but they don't really like each other. Right, so for us, we try to like each other, enjoy each other. Like, if I'm home, I'm in the same room with her, like, same thing, right? And then I think also women want someone, a man that take interest in the things that they like, not just the stuff that we like. But you know, we could get into sports and stuff like that, and just the stuff that we enjoy, and we can overlook. I hate shopping. But I had to learn to like it because she loves to shop, right? And sometimes that could be a tug of war. And so women are looking for men that's willing to compromise, right? Versus saying, no, I'm the man and it's my way or the highway. But then they gonna say, well, I'm on the highway and I got a car. So I'm going.
There you go.
You know, so. Oh, can I say this? This is where I think ladies fall short. I'm gonna get y'all something. Women have the power in a relationship, period. And I think sometimes y'all don't understand the power that you do have. So emotionally, you allow men to dictate the relationship when really you got the power. Trust me, it ain't a man that ain't gonna bow down to his wife if his wife is doing the things she's supposed to do. But emotionally, y'all give it to us.
They supposed to.
Me, my bad, let me correct this. Needs to.
Yeah, I'm so. This is just me.
Talking, brother.
They say this about men a lot, not good communicators. And I think generally speaking, there's some truth. But this is my personal. I heard that so much. I did tap into that. All I could hear is what I'm not doing. And what I learned, and I can tell you are communicative. But you never
That right.
So again, I'm not saying women are just totally wrong about this. There's days of women are just, I mean, such right. But we know the person is, think about men and our exterior and what we come with. And what women don't understand is that men have an emotional side too. But you focus on the primary and not thinking maybe the emotional or the communication may not be our primary. Without falling asleep sometimes because the thing is we just are so focused on you can't see that. And I just learned within the past year and a half,
Something when we saying something, they ain't saying nothing.
Right.
And they don't. I think that's my kids. This approach, right? Say how you say. So that's good.
Are you talking to get a rebuttal? Yeah. Or are you talking heartfelt? But then you're listening to him respond. We used to have that. I'm like, you're not listening to me. Like, and if she would tell me, you're not listening to what I'm saying, and you know what, she was right, because while she was talking, my mind was racing to come back what she was saying. So I'm listening to reason because emotionally, I'm torn because we want to get in our shell, we want to put our wall up, get defensive, and sometimes you don't hear. So even fine if you communicate, like you said, it's not the fact. No, God.
I was gonna say, I think one of my things. And I would always expect for my then husband, always have any lateral
on what I just, you know, and whenever he didn't have this, you know, long elaborate response, you know, I felt like he wasn't paying attention. What I was saying to him was, you know, the least, or that was the case now. That we don't talk, they don't communicate sometimes. We do, you know, they don't require the same number of words, you know.
It's like those forever, it might be months and years, and you finally learn how to say it.
They get a new marriage and they get it now. Like,
We got women that be like, oh, he didn't do that for me, but now he go over there and be doing it the right way. And then you have to.
But that was the same. I thought I was years, I got a master's degree, I'm an HR specialist, I can communicate. I'm introvert. And previous situations, previous relationships, or just in life in general, like you asked the question, he's an observer. You know, and so I'm talking, and you know how we do, I'm talking, and he's not responding, so I'm feeling, you know, about what I'm trying to say, you know, because he's not reacting the way that I want him to react. I want him to give me, like you said, an elaborate soliloquy about, okay, babe, you this, and this, but because of the way I'm problematic or here, instead of just even same energy, so he's not receiving, he's not even hearing what I'm saying because he's too busy concerned about how I'm saying.
And I think for men, especially when they're listening, when we're really tuned in, and don't hear us, we were
Shut down.
right? So now there's two problems. We wasn't listening, and now we're not responding. So,
they're down. Hey, man, I'm like, what they were.
And we do.
Yeah.
That's why they say that tongue is fire. It is the fire of the whole body.
Yeah.
You know, you can say one thing because of your emotions and being mad and tear him down for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
Tear him down for the next
that's why
6
it's
months.
important, and I'll give my critics this. In discussions where it got heated, you know, you might say something, say or whatever the case, she'll come back and discuss. That's important for us to do. Because if you don't come back and say that, now I think you really meant that. And I think you've been thinking that. for a long time, right?
I'm going to hard.
Oh, okay. So, right. And this is the growth of women that you gotta know when you grow. I do it too. And that's the thing, you know, we got so much pride. You know, to work as a man, you gotta call them like, I'm sorry. Don't wanna do it. You gotta find out, like, you know, if you wanna be sleeping in the bed, first of all, so you better make it right.
And I have to be better at that, saying I'm sorry, because when you wrong, I have to say I'm sorry. When you know, but they're so great at that, you know, I think too. We love the same things, I love kids, we both poets, we like sports, so we're, you know, hang out, we work crazy hours, so I don't see them as much as I like to. But when we're mad, we got, you know, that whole house is quiet, it's just us up in there, right? So, you know,
Pin drop
when
when
we, I know what he's gonna do. We get mad, he's gonna go and start writing in the journal or reading the book or praying in the Bible. Oh, now you want to be in the Bible.
Right.
So let me do real quick. What are you doing? You want to be in a relationship. What are you doing with yourself in the meantime? Because I was just like, this is the, I said, so Bishop said, and he asked the same question Jerome asked very beginning, because it was a bunch of women in the ministry. I think we had 1 or 2 brothers. And so we was talking about men out here, they all, you know, they want a bunch of men. And Bishop said, Bishop said, well, if God brought you your man today, would you be an asset you know, I'm in the military now, 10, 15 years. But then when I start writing down all the things that I would definitely, you know, bring it back from a previous relationship, I still had emotionally from these things. You know what I mean? I want to be physically more in shape. So I had some things that I needed to work on in the meantime. So when by the end of the night, we said, well, we're there. We're there. If God brought us our king today, would we be ready to receive? Or if God brought you your queen today, could you take care of her? Could you make her feel safe? Can you make her feel financially, emotionally? Are you ready for that? Everything you said, okay. You said, yeah. Okay. Right, so it was important in the meantime. That's why I took that charge from him and said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna get my education out the way. I'm gonna take care of my finances and then my finances. You know what I mean? I'm gonna write my, you know, our book. So that's what I was doing in the time. Like I said, I met him 18 years ago. You know what I mean? I saw him, but and then 12 years later, we ran back into each other. So when he ran back into me, I was like, that's it. So every time got security now, because you know, as I achieved certain milestones in my singleness, I would call him and say, asset, debt paid off, asset, car ball, asset, home ball, asset, you know. So it's a big joke with them. But you know, what we're telling you all, in the meantime, let it be in the meantime.
You know, the thing that we struggle with is dealing with ourselves. Right? Being honest, when you look in that mirror, you don't see nobody. And, you know, you go through a relationship that's tough or whatever it is, and now that person could have been terrible. They could have done some things that, you know, was foul or whatever. So we're not gonna just give them a pass. But along the way, and I had to learn that like there's some things I need to do better. So when I meet my queen, I'm gonna treat her like she's a home.
A lot of people don't do the work.
You got it going on.
You know, I work out, got my master's, pay my second bills, you know, all these things that you think you are, but that to me, I can have all these things, and he can have himself.
Right.
That to me, that was my list, like work on education, work on this, work on that. And that's what I had to work on. I had to check my list over here. Then I work on my mental self. Right. And so some people, I'm asking what mental health. Right. That's more important.
Yeah.
Then you can have some bills, get 2 more jobs, pay the bills out.
Right.
Your mental health.
Yeah.
We gonna,
Right.
The first 2 days in, I'm like, right.
Yeah, that's very important
Yeah.
to me too. I started off, you know, talking about how men have areas that they need to heal too. And so mental, something that is, you know, way up, this is the first thing on my list.
And it's hard to talk to a man about mental because most black men, like, they've been in a household with men. They think they were supposed to. I've met men that have never had a pedicure because they think this. You know, they men that don't get massages because they think that. I'm just like, these are things that they don't want. They don't. Think of it. So many other things.
So I think back to discerning the purpose. It goes back to not expecting perfect for you. Not that you're perfect apart, but that person is willing to build with you. And they're gonna accept your issues, because maybe that's what to help you in that aspect where you're not as strong as he is. So we balance each other out. You know what I mean? So and we've experienced that in our own relationship. My husband is skilled, he's an observer, so he's the logic in the relationship, at times. If I'm gonna go here, let's go do it now. He's like, no, we're not gonna do that. So we balance each other out. So the areas where I feel, man, you know what I mean? So my point is, he gives me just what I need. And I think that's what God's gonna do when you run into your person. So don't feel like we put too much pressure. We Photoshop our whole life. But the reality is, I gotta say that. I mean, I got gray.
I work with young men, right? And I always ask them what type of woman you want. And they like, oh, she gotta be a 10, all that. So I let them talk. I don't say nothing. But if you a 5, why would you want a 5? It don't equal out. So stop looking at the number and look at the person.
Right.
But the thing is that as a young man, nobody told me that.
Yeah.
So you got a bunch of men my age that nobody talking to. Still out here running around chasing, right? Because no one explained to them what a real was. And unfortunately, women are introducing them.
Take the pressure off yourself.
Know that you're not.
You single still?
Right.
It's so embarrassing. Question was floating all around. You still got that? You still got no kid? Well, so you still single. You 65 going on 70.
No, thank you. I hate to tell people I'm sick.
And that's what I say. That was like, especially they don't have any problem dating outside their race. I mean, it's just the truth. But we sometimes we don't.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, he gonna understand myself. You know what? Anybody can understand your struggle if it's the right. You know what I mean? So I mean, if your preference is that is to be with brothers, that's fine. There's no problem with that. I'm just saying that open up your aperture, make yourself available. You won't be surprised how many coming out that you might have with somebody that you just don't think that's your type, because he don't fit into that box. You know, painted him. Like me, Holly Berry, maybe, Angela Bassett.
Angela, yes.
God, she come on TV. Well, no matter what the conversation was, midstream.
Yeah. So what I have dealt with is that, well, you already look like you're being taken care of. He said that you're always dressed nice, your hair seems to always be done. I don't even go to this is when I didn't have my braids, but I don't even go to the beauty shop. I'm capable of doing my own hair. He basically said, you always have your nails done, your hair is always.
So what you need
dressed
me for?
nice.
He ain't.
He told me that I already look like I have a man taking care of me, and because of that, a lot of men are gonna be intimidated, or don't want to approach me.
So-
I get that a lot.
Or they feel like I can take care of myself without them. And so
So
I don't have a man.
Right.
I want to be taken care of.
Yeah,
I want to be able to, I work hard. You see, on my own. I just figured that. I can furnish it.
They think you're too strong. I get that. You're too independent.
But see,
Everything
that
by
hurts. It
yourself.
hurts me quite regularly.
Yeah.
Not hurt, but it's just like my.
I'm like, am I supposed to be sitting on? You want me to have my EBT card?
Yes.
I'm gonna be attractive.
Yes.
No,
And it's like,
I mean, got time for
why
y'all.
do people have a hard time thinking that,
You don't need
a woman, an
somebody.
established woman can't buy herself a nice purse?
I'm gonna tell you, so as a
Why
man,
do people think that? On her own, without the preach.
Let's go.
Why is that a thing, Sally?
when a man says that, when a man says or says something about intimidation, it's really his lack of confidence. It has nothing to do
So
with
it's the
you.
wrong man all the way.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with you.
Already,
Because
yeah.
there's, I feel confident enough to be around anyone. We have to have a conversation. So it don't matter how good you look or what your status is. So when men say that, it's those type of men that want women that they can control. So what they see is strength, and they know they can't
They don't do it.
mess with you because you're not going for that. So they say, oh, she's intimidated. No, she's just not going for the okey doke.
Yeah.
And now you don't have no conversation
Right.
that you used to do with the little girl over here, and now you got an issue. So that's all I do.
And you know what, too, lady? You can be right wrong. You can be right in everything you say. But your presentation is wrong. So the energy that you put on is. I don't know that.
Wow. I get told that. I get told that. I'm mean. I'm this. I'm this way.
So you can be right in what you're saying and how you feel about it, but your presentation, because if you think like, yeah, you know what I mean? No, I'm just.
But
I'm just keeping it real.
Yeah.
Same way, girl. I was like, I'm independent. I can do my own meds. I can pay my own telephone bill, you know, all that stuff. You know what I mean? And I didn't even know that I was projecting that because I was coming from a position. My parents at a young age, so I didn't see relationships.
Right.
And then I got divorced, I got married and got divorced and was a single parent. You know what I mean? So I had survival mode. So the way I communicate with the man that, you know, that brothers that could potentially be somebody, they weren't intimidated. Right. You know what I mean? They were turned off by my whole presentation. You know what I mean?
That hurt.
It hurt. Okay, so I'm glad I wrote that.
Yeah, because that hurt because we doing something and they're like, that's a turn off.
I've learned.
If he
It's too hard.
if he sees you, that's what he attracted to. He already attracted to your strength. He done been checking you out. The first time he wrote me a poem, I had to see him out. It's scary. I went back in my office. It was overseas. I went back. I said, that's a problem right there. You already knew.
Yeah.
But when we finally communicated, he had already observed me. He wrote me a poem about all the stuff about me. So my point is, they already observed me. If they already checked me. Fine, they red bone over there, she got it all the way together. That chocolate chip over there, she got it all. They already, he all shaped up. They already know. They already know what they're getting. So you don't have to put it on the marquee. They already know. So
Right.
you know, I mean, I'm not saying be
Downside,
right.
yeah.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
that. Because my husband is a proponent of it. He want to see women doing good in sports. He want to see them in politics. He loves to see women doing great things. So sometimes when we get into it, I said, you know, the same thing you love about me, you hate about me. You love that I got this and I got that. But then I don't have he don't really know. So stop telling him that you all that in a bag of chips. Because so it's hard.
And they ain't the couple.
I can
Right.
When I had course, it was everybody's fault but mine. It was everybody's fault. And then I had to look at just like you. I thought. Yeah. But when I looked at myself, my whole self, I was all the way wrong for anybody. So that's why I was getting fraud. Wanting them to be perfect. Because I was a fraud. But we don't want to acknowledge that. So we have to hone hired somebody to do it. Why am I paying somebody to do all this decent size? Why am I paying him? So I got mad at him one day. Let me tell you about you. But you still did it. But I still did it. Correct and everything.
Look, and I'm out, and I see, I was like.
Y'all.
Yeah, she trying to tell you something.
Right, right.
About him.
But yeah.
But I was too prideful.
Yeah.
I can do, he already know I can do it. But I had to show him. About him.
That's you. That's so me. I feel like you gotta come in and check my radio.
So big. I'm just saying. I'm reading your question. People and it talks about the energy that you attract or that you emit. You know what I mean? So if you're not getting the person that you want, what are you comfortable? You got nasty attitude? Are you bougie? Your conversation whack. You know what I mean? What type of my husband will come in the house in a minute and say your energy. We don't talk about it with the married people about intimacy because y'all been married, y'all been in relationships, you know what I mean? And you clearly, if you come your spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend somebody come in the house and just one thing you say or they say, you had already planned for y'all was gonna be all in that night, but one thing is said. My husband, he used to work a Jerome for about an hour and a half or 15 minutes at night. I talked to him on the way home, so everything was good. I got some, I'm ready. One thing he said, girl, I put on one day. I
go get in the shower. Out for that.
We got to say, he took all this tonight.
I was sweating.
Y'all is us and we know.
About the energy. You look like attitude. I'm not the type of when I go out. Here's the thing about me. When we go out on weekend, I get dressed up. To get A's. You coming out as a player. Yeah, I just like it really bad. Because I'm always focused. I'm always thinking about what I'm getting back. So when you come to me, I'm already
And your home, and y'all was
so bad.
we don't have space. We don't.
That's
we,
how
and then we wearing masks too, so all they see is this.
yeah.
And y'all know how the eyes do.
Without the man.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's benefits, pleasantries. You understand me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. The way you look. You know what I mean? So it matters. It matters. If you want to attract something. So the last argument that we got into, I said, I thought I was, I was wrong, so I said, no, I'm sorry. But I made them say, noted, I checked out whatever it was, but it's learning. This relationship is your relationship with yourself is evolving, your relationship with other people. It's evolving, so take the mask off. You don't have to. Jesus was hungry. We gotta put it back. We got a lot to learn.
And I wanted to say, I'm real hard on younger women. That's why I'm so proponent for women freedom. but I think you have to value yourself enough where you don't settle, open to things, but don't settle, like you wait for what you are, right? And just because that man is a certain way, like my wife said, she was single for 20 years, she worked on herself. And she wants to be with stuff like that, absolutely. But this is when you gotta love you, you want to love the person, who makes the right person for you. And that's difficult. I know when you're single, when married people say that, you be like, yeah, but you go home with somebody. But that's why we so open, because we've been there, so we know. It's challenging because you have needs. You want to be hugged on. Don't think that men don't want that. Like the misconception about men is that we don't like the cuddle. We don't. My wife will tell you, I'll come home, I'll lay on her. She's gonna come. I gotta go hang out with the home. All right, on the couch. But there's a misconception that men just want to. That's not what they know.
Yeah.
Because when you're a man, you know better.
Yeah.
You know.
As a man, you know, I'm here, Jerome, Corey, it's one thing a woman wants. If you make a woman say, you can have a team, because she is going to trust that the decisions you make for her and her family are the right decisions. And if you fail, she's still going to be there to support you and not necessarily, oh, see, I told you. No, if you make her feel safe, we don't do that now. You know, dishonesty is a trigger. It could be something, it could be a lie about me. Dishonesty, a lie. It could, you know, something like that, you know. But
Not telling all of
not telling all the truth. Omitting stuff. So if he doesn't tell me the truth about something, I would just think, oh, are you telling a lie? Or has he ever had an environment to where he could show his vulnerability to, or if he told me the truth about whatever the situation was, I wouldn't go off. I would hear what was the problem of the situation. Now, some things us included.
Exactly.
You know, they lie is no different than our lie. You know what I mean? You know, something in the house, matter of fact, I'm over here, I had a cute little sweats. Yeah, ironed all his stuff. He's like, what you wearing? I said, oh, no, I got so first I had the tennis shoes out. He's like, oh. I had all my stuff laying out. He said, well, what? You know, did I lie? I tell all the truth. People out. You know, I'm being silly about it. But you know, the point is, you know, we all have triggers.
Yeah.
Men have triggers just like we do. Men have emotions just like we do. They feel unsafe just like we do. You know, maybe his feeling unsafe is different, but they still have that same challenge. So if he's so aggressive and I got my own limit, so you making him feel just like everybody else. You know, he wants this. He wants you to he's gonna take you around his friends and them. You know what I mean? So it's just sometimes you have to this is your in the meantime.
Yeah.
Getting yourself together in your meantime. So when you come, but you know, they're willing to work with you on things, whatever your theme, whatever your things are. Take pressure off yourself. And everybody's not gonna be your husband or your wife. But it's just a dang date.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a dang date. So now you get a little bit from different people to kind of see what you want, what you're willing to tolerate, and what you're not willing to tolerate. You know what I mean? You don't have to get them. I love the Lord and He's my Savior, because the way you live, the way you act, your attitude, he can already see God in you. And if he can't, that you saved or that you know the Lord and that you have some kind of relationship. If he can't see that or she can't see that just by the way your everyday life is, why should I be pulling up? That's the problem. People in church, married couples in church, act like everything is good to go, like they don't have no issues, and they come to church and they be writing bishops and them counsel, and they all. Yeah, because church is the only one. But I like that. Those are miracles. You're right. You don't know what we had to go through. Y'all have no idea to get here, to get there. Nobody knows. So stop trying to live up to what society and church folks say you need to be as singles. They live up to their own.
Only got, only got to deal with that. Right, there's a lot of. That's it.
They got their own life, they do their own thing, they don't do nothing together. We got a friend right now, they both saved, filled with the Holy Ghost, got a new house, got like that, everything. Every time we call them, they're in separate rooms, every time. He in there watching games on Sunday from sun up to sundown. And she gets back. Her thing.
Mary's the same.
Mary? Yeah. You have the criteria for yourself. That's fine. Don't stop. Because you just want somebody. You know what the red flags are. And you say you saved, God done gave you discernment. That's right. That ain't, so put that one in. Put that one on, that's just gonna be, that's gonna be my hangout, that's my buddy. You know, right. And that's the one, you know. That's one, yeah. You know, I'm just, yeah. You know where you are.
Yeah.
Now they like, you know, then I was in the military. I always had this mindset of strategy. I'm always very afraid about everything. Right, exactly. My brother tells me that. My brother calls me a nice man. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Change your approach. Yeah, I was like, all right, I'm going out there for some bread, please today. Right. Yeah, I gotta change that, 'cause I always, the sad thing, you have your like me, your mother, it's like, I'm gonna look at whatever, I can't see. And so my friends always tell me, okay.
You literally have an organic conversation like this.
Right.
I mean, it's been, I don't think I've experienced this.
So this is up on this one. We're not here for.
oh, y'all just here.
Yeah, she gonna sign up for y'all. And you guys were so awesome.
And I
That is
appreciate
on
it.
me, okay? That book is on me. You guys are amazing. So, thank you guys. about something. Yeah.
advice from couples that broke you and been through stuff and don't take on yeah, y'all mad. I mean, I think y'all had the journey after a lot of people, not here, but you gonna stuff in there. Yeah, it ain't real.
We got Corey's name, Tanisha. Call me back last year. I
Yes.
think. The very moment that I got to the
Ursula.
Corey.
Was it?
Come on, baby.
Belinda.
Belinda, what's your name?
Lavena.
Lavena.
No,
Oh, you didn't call her?
All right, y'all, they gonna break us up, but.
Okay, I'm gonna.
She'll-
I'm here.
She'll sign your books for y'all.
Yeah. No, no, this should be about 2 days. Oh, very-